What changed for you when you became from a deputy general counsel to a general counsel a few months back in Nexteer?
It's a couple of months. I'm still learning.
Tell us your advice on younger lawyers who are not able to stick at one place for a long period of time.
I think it's not bad. In my early career, I also, I had to find myself. I maybe didn't know exactly what I wanted to do. And I would really encourage everybody to make all the necessary experiences.
What sacrifice did you make to become a general counsel at Nexteer?
You meet people, you say goodbye to certain people. I met so many new friends in all the different countries I was living in. I met my wife in a different country.
How EQ helped you in your business?
I think emotional intelligence is super important for us lawyers. We pick people up a lot of times in a situation of stress, maybe even distress.
What goes in your mind when you're switching between these legal systems?
That's an excellent question.
Absolutely. Welcome to Photon podcast. My name is Amit Koshal. I'm an engineer turned patent attorney. Today I'm joined with Jonas Regenfuss, the General Counsel of Nexteer, which is powering and steering the wheels to the who's who in the automotive industry. Jonas is triple qualified. He is admitted in the bar in Germany, in England and Wales, and in the US. He has worked in multiple countries in Europe and now moved to the US in Detroit. Jonas Regenfuss, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Amit. It's a pleasure to be with you.
Thank you very much. Jonas, after looking at your qualification in multiple countries in Germany, England and Wales, and the US, how do you switch between these three legal systems? What goes in your mind when you're switching between these legal systems?
That's an excellent question. I would say as an in-house lawyer, we're providing guidance to the internal client. It's different from an external counsel where you are really into the very details of every jurisdiction. For us, we're trying to see the big picture. My objective is really to advise the client on overall how the legal aspects work. And then for each jurisdiction in my team, I have local lawyers who work for us in different divisions. For us are geographical organizational points. And to the extent that it is that we need expert advice, we would seek outside counsel expert advice.
Okay. See, Nexteer is almost 120-year-old company. Out of that 120 years, you have spent almost 13 years with them. It's about 10% of the Nexteer's journey. It's a big milestone. Over a decade you've spent with them, and you recently became a general counsel as Nexteer. What changed for you when you became from a deputy general counsel to a general counsel a few months back in Nexteer?
I'm drinking from the fire hose. As you said, it's a couple of months. I'm still learning. So what really changed? I think, you become the primary contact person to the executive team, to the board. So I think while I've been trained for the role, I've had great mentors throughout my career, and my last mentor really tried to give me visibility on how it feels to be a general counsel. When you are a general counsel, it's still a little bit different. So I think that is really it, that you are representing the legal department. We have an awesome team, and I want to be, doing the best job representing them. And that is really, I think those are the two challenges, differences, a deputy general counsel to the actual general counsel responsible for the legal affairs of the company.
And let's say so now your call is the final call when it comes to legal. How does that change for you? when you were talking to the board, talking to the CEO, and they're relying on Jonas to give them the right advisory, right wisdom, uh, and they're relying on you to take big decisions. Uh, how does it make you feel?
Well, first of all, I'm honored that my management team places this trust into me, and then I'm really trying to simplify things. As you know, an executive team, they want a high level executive statement. They usually are less interested in the nitty gritty details of a matter. They want to see the big lines, the important decisions to be made, supported by sound legal advice. So I think that is the balance I'm trying to strike. Yeah, so it is a responsibility. I'm not hiding that from you either, but I feel prepared. Now, will I make mistakes? I think we all make mistakes. It is important that we rectify them when we come across them. But so far, I knock on wood. I think things are going well. Thank you.
Okay, brilliant. Jonas, you spent 13 years in Nexteer, and I've grown from the legal director in Nexteer to general counsel, the most important legal position in the company. Whereas there are other lawyers who keep jumping from one place to another place. Um, Tell us your advice on younger lawyers who are not able to stick at one place for a long period of time.
I think it's not bad. In my early career, I also, I had to find myself. I maybe didn't know exactly what I wanted to do, and I would really encourage everybody to make all the necessary experiences. I think there are no bad experiences. You may experience that maybe a certain role isn't really yours. You may work for a company where you say, "Well, that's a great company. It's just not exactly my type of culture." So I think it is important that you find the right one for you, and then it is a beautiful journey, I would say. Yes, I've started with responsibility for a region, and that eventually grew up until the deputy general counsel role, where I had some influence on strategy, on budget, and ultimately I was lucky enough to be chosen for the general counsel. But again, I think I wouldn't discount any of it. If you feel you have to change your role, I think it's better to change than to be unhappy. But at the same time, if you find something which is a good fit, ideally, you're as lucky as I was that the company really supported my growth, and I wish that to everybody.
Brilliant. And Jonas, you moved from, let's say, Bavaria, Brussels, Paris, and now Detroit. What sacrifice did you make to become a general counsel at Nexteer?
Well, as you said, I'm far away from my immediate family who raised me. But then again, during that time, I also, you know, I gained a lot. So I think yes, you make sacrifices in terms of your childhood friends. They may go a different direction. They stay at home, or they may also go somewhere else. But then it's the gains. I met so many new friends in all the different countries I was living in. I met my wife in a different country, and we together expatriated here to the U.S. So yes, you meet people, you say goodbye to certain people. Most people, today you can stay in contact. There is beautiful things like Teams, Skype, email, telephone. So you're not as close. I think that needs to be accepted. Your own culture, I think that's maybe also something to consider. That if you go abroad, you should embrace the new culture. You don't have to give everything up that is dear to you, but But at the same time, I think it is important to really immerse oneself into the place where you're going, and so you again you give up a little bit, but you gain a lot more.
Okay. And in one of in we have I've been reading a lot about you and your post and your leadership style. One of the things comes out very clearly is emotional quotient is very important for you, EQ. And uh, tell us more. Tell us why emotional quotient is especially now even more important for you because you're a general counsel. If you can elaborate with the help of a story that how it helped you or in your team or with your clients or with your board, how EQ helped you in your business.
That's a tough question. A story, I don't know. Let me think about that a little bit. I will develop first my answer to you. I think emotional intelligence is super important for us lawyers. We pick people up a lot of times in a situation of stress, maybe even distress, and you know we I think have to put ourselves into our clients' shoes. Um, that they're experiencing usually an extraordinary situation. If they're dealing with lawyers, nobody's really super excited if they have to do that. We have also a reputation of being maybe a bit more complicated, being administrative, and I think that plays into the role of a lawyer, that we are self-aware of how we are perceived, and then maybe demolish these barriers. So I think I have the impression that I am able to, work with different cultures, with different levels of the organization. So that's not a concrete example, but for me, open door policy, for example, is very important. Just because you're the general counsel of the company, maybe you have less time. That is true. You have less time, but I really am not trying to, tell barriers to a certain level in the organization. We're visiting factories. We get the opportunity to talk to people on the shop floor, as we're able to talk to the executive management team, the board of directors. So I think you know those are all human beings. They all have the same respect, and they deserve the same respect for me. But I think, nevertheless, you have to adjust a little bit your the way how you're speaking with people. Again, keeping in mind what other people think of you, and what you want to get out of the conversation, the experience. So that is definitely something I've learned along the way, but I'm also curious about, and I think it goes a long way.
Mhm. And if you double click on that, Jonas, what will be the difference between the culture in, let's say, in law teams, legal teams in Germany versus in the US?
Hmm. Uh, I think overall in Germany, we are, you know, w- we have this preconceived idea of Germans for a reason. I think German lawyers are usually fairly strict, and really, the rule is the rule, so we apply it no matter what. Now in the U.S., obviously everybody respects the law and abides by the rules. However, I think there is always a margin of interpretation, and what I really appreciate in the U.S. In my U.S. legal team, certainly, but I think overall with lawyers in the U.S. is kind of the business mindset and the business understanding. I think that goes a long way. I'm not saying that Germans don't understand business, but if I'm looking at, especially in the U.S., lawyers, they really have this approach. Maybe not to start with, a paragraph of the law or a section, but to understand the underlying business idea, and then kind of use the law to get to the business results. So for me, yeah, that would be, I think, a big difference.
You nailed it, Jonas. We file hundred of patent applications in the US and few patent applications in Europe every year. We have about 95% patent grant in the US, 97% to be precise, because US is slightly more liberal uh, in terms of patents for sure, and law, they business comes first, and they try to use the law in a way that supports the business, not go against it, but it supports the business, supports progress, it supports moving forward. When German lawyers, for example, when we're dealing with German patent lawyers and German patent examiners, they're very strict. It is very hard to get a patent allowed in Europe and Germany for sure. So I would not, I can still say that the standards of law are very high in Germany. The rigidness and the following of that is very high benchmark, very high standard. US is slightly more liberal, which is good for business.
Which is good for business, and we need to help our German colleagues to see the other side of the coin.
Absolutely, absolutely. I agree with you that. I agree with you. So, Jonas, my next question to you is, you know, Americans do business differently than the rest of the world. And we just agreed that perhaps our German counterparts need to learn a few things on how Americans do business. So if you want to elaborate, what does rest of the world get wrong about the US, and what do Americans get wrong about everybody else?
Oh wow, I'm not going to speak for everybody else, and I'm not going to speak for all the Americans, but let me give you my perspective. So yeah, I like with Americans, I like the can-do attitude. You mentioned that before. It's using the law to enable business. I think that is a great approach, and Americans are taking that. I think quite for everything. Very willing to test something. If it doesn't work, throw it out. Try something else. Um, I'm European myself, so sometimes that is difficult for me because, as you said before, I'm coming from this rather rigid environment where we think that we made legal rules for a reason, and they should be followed. They give us safety. They give us the guardrails, which we believe are necessary in business, in society. So we, I think, have this feeling that it goes back a long way. It's a development, and maybe that's a little bit. The U.S. just celebrated their 250th anniversary, whereas some of the cultures in Europe are 1,000 years old. You have others, Asia, they're several thousand years old. So we believe that this has grown. This has been a development, and I think that's what maybe some of us foreigners believe. The Americans should also take that into consideration when they are doing this trial and error. And again, as with so many things, I think the truth is probably somewhere in the middle, and it sometimes also depends on what you're dealing with. But I think that is, for me, maybe the main difference. Yeah.
So Jonas, US on the streets, let's say in California, in SF Bay Area, there are autonomous vehicles moving around freely. When do you see that happening in Germany or Europe?
Um, it comes back to what I just said. I think many European countries are maybe a bit more cautious on how to allow trial and error, but I don't think we're that far away. No, I'm not an engineer, but in terms of, I think the legal environment is already well advanced as well. And I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of years we see fully autonomous vehicles, and if you take some of the European jurisdictions, they do already allow for certain tests. You have different levels of automation, as you may know, and some of them are already driving on the roads today. But the fully autonomous vehicles, yeah, maybe Europe is a bit more cautious, but I would not be surprised to see some of them the next year when I'm visiting.
Okay, all right. Uh, you also spend time in, let's say, Brussels and lobbying on the rules that govern lawyers
Mhm.
themselves. And you also were editing newsletter as well. And tell me, what did seeing how the law gets made from the inside versus like teach you practicing law versus seeing how law is being made? Uh, how is how did that transform your thinking?
Well, first of all, it was really an awesome experience to have an insight into the mechanics. Also, the many trade-offs, the many inputs. So I definitely have even more respect for how the sauce is made. Um, Now, it's a lot of compromise. So you usually don't, get exactly what has been proposed, and you may, be sorry that it is not in its pure form. Uh, but that also means for me as a lawyer, I believe that makes me maybe a better lawyer. That the text, as we find it in the end of the day in our, law books, that is a compromise. So not everything may be fully coherent always. I think, allows you to maybe go back and look in again how has the law actually been made, how it did come into force, because usually that is very much documented. So yeah, I mean, my biggest respect for these people. They do a hard job, and so do the lobbyists. Yeah, I think it's teamwork, and you need to take it as such that the outcome is teamwork, and now you apply it to your best abilities. And for me, that is also a little bit the difference in terms of I think in a company you really see the result of what you're doing as a lawyer when you're a policy advisor. You provide input, and in the end of the day, what tipped the scales, you may never really know. So I think like the definition of success is also different between a policy advisor and an in-house counsel.
Mm. When you say it's a bit of a compromise, if you can explain that a little more to our audience.
So what I mean compromise is, usually you have whatever form it is, a proposal for a law that may be coming out of the parliament, that may come out of the executive, and and then it's being considered in different forums. So in Europe, that is the European Parliament. It is the European Council. The European Parliament is, the closest what you have in a national parliament, that it is voted for by the people. The council is more indirectly voted for, because that is kind of either heads of states or representative of the government, and they come together and they have different interests. So those people directly responsible to their electorate, they will have amendments. Then there will be amendments also to the proposal by the member states, and then there is a vote, and on either side, and then they have to come together, and if they want to pass legislation, they need to agree. And I don't know, in the simplest of examples, somebody could say, well, you need 1 month time to consider. Somebody else says, well, it should go quickly. 5 days need to be enough. And in the end of the day, it's what, 15 days? For me, that it's a very simple compromise, but you get the idea, I think.
Yes, yes, yes. You're right. So next year is building systems which, if go wrong, can hurt people. And tell us, carrying that big risk on your shoulder as the General Counsel of next year, how what's the biggest legal risk for the in-house team here of next year?
So I think overall, as an organization, how we try to mitigate risk is certainly by solid policies and procedures. Um, Now, a lot of that is in the engineering realm of things, but in terms of what legal can do is trying to understand, and again, from a non-technical perspective, trying to understand what our engineering team is trying to do. We bring in a different perspective. Typically, the lawyers are the one who are like, okay, but we have done all this, but what if it goes wrong? What do we do then? So I think it's really a collaboration, I would say. And if you talk about the weight on the shoulders, I guess it's that we're doing a good job in getting this collaboration right, providing our input, and ultimately, you know, an in-house department should never be the department of no. It is more the department of, and we all know that, how things get done. But I think ultimately, if we would be doing something which our lawyers cannot support and say this is not what we can do, then to have the courage and say no, to stop, to escalate.
Hmm. Hmm. And so now next year has about 10,000 plus employees. How much of it has next year completely adopted AI and the risk associated with AI?
I think our organization is fairly open to AI. So we have, it's obviously at the very beginning, we had the question, what do we do? Do we say we forbid, or prohibit our employees from using it and only allow them to use it in those narrow cases? Or do we have confidence in our people and say, well, as long as we provide the guardrails, you can try, you experiment, and we put rules in place where we believe that AI is too dangerous to just do this trial and error, as I was talking about before. But we opted for second options to have guardrails, to give guidelines to the team, and let them experiment. So I think we're still in that phase where, are we fully integrated AI? No, but I think we're still learning on what we can do on both sides. May that be on the product side and the enterprise side. We're still learning.
So we're talking about how next year is taking AI on board, and you mentioned that you are adopting AI with the help of some guardrails and guidelines. So, if you have to guide Jonas, a fellow general counsel who's still on the verge of should I adopt AI, should I not adopt AI, and they're still thinking of what guardrails do we put, what guidelines do we put, can you explain a little bit to a fellow general counsel who's listening to this podcast right now? What are those guardrails and what are those guidelines for to help them jump into AI more comfortably?
I never said it's comfortable.
Yes, it's not.
What I can share what we did. I think it's and I think is the right approach. Definitely a cross-functional approach. I don't think a single function, can make the calls, should make the calls. I think it does take a collective intelligence, and also the different perspectives of looking at it, maybe from a risk side, opportunities, what you know different aspects of the enterprise you want to have integrated in with AI? Are there others where you say, well, this is actually maybe it is part of, what makes a company cultural wise, that people talk to each other, that, people, you have this human aspect. So I actually think these discussions are very valuable and worth having. Then I also think that you cannot ignore AI, otherwise you will get ignored. So I think we shouldn't be too afraid. We should not let it loose on everything. We should go middle ground, test, and maybe that's what we talked about a lot about. Crawl, walk, run. That just learning by doing.
And how big is the legal team currently in next year?
We are organized in a way that we have lawyers in the different geographical divisions who are responsible for their area, and so we have lawyers in Asia Pacific. We have lawyers in Europe, Middle East, Africa, South America, and in North America. So overall, we're 10 in the legal team, and we also have a person, because we just talked about AI, a person responsible for legal operations. So yeah, that makes us a pretty lean team for the size of Nexteer's company. But I think we're well set up. It's an excellent team, so everybody knows their role.
Brilliant. So, how is the legal team adopting AI today?
Similarly, I mean, we have as a company, we have these enterprise licenses from Microsoft. We're using Microsoft, so Copilot. Um, we are experimenting with agents. And then we're also looking into how we can optimize, for example, contract flows, how we can m- improve also our document management systems. That's really where we're currently using AI.
So because the in-house legal team is becoming more and more efficient in next year, do you believe in the future the in-house legal teams will do more work themselves and they will outsource less work to an outside counsel?
Um, There are opportunities for that in terms of we're using outside counsel, as I said early on in our conversation, for specialized areas, and that in the foreseeable future, I don't think you can replace a lawyer with a pure AI. Now, to the extent that we're using outside counsel sometimes as support for overflow, that we just have too much work, with us obviously becoming more efficient, get rid of some of the busy work. Yes, I could see that becoming, less of a need for Nexteer to have this overflow if we can concentrate on the value add work.
So you know what's happening with us? So we work with a lot of technology companies in the US, and we file patents for them. And these inventors, before AI used to give us, let's say, one paragraph IDF summary, invention disclosure form, and now they're giving us 20 pages to read on the technology built using AI. So AI is actually increasing our work. Okay, but everybody is giving us tons of documents to read and to formulate those documents now properly, and they remove the garbage and the fluff because the patent application can only have the right things. Do you think sometimes AI is increasing your work?
You have a very fair point. I will not argue with you that I've never seen this very sophisticated email all of a sudden. And indeed, it does take work to actually understand how much is, really research work, or how much has been generated by AI. Yes, we face that. On the other hand, I'm an optimist, so I hope that AI will help us sift through some of that stuff. And again, I'm not expecting lawyers to be replaced. I think this human aspect I was talking to about before, you mentioned emotional intelligence. I think and I'm not an expert, from what I've seen so far from AI, I haven't seen this emotional intelligence, and I think there is still need for human interactions, especially in complicated situations, in situations where people feel under pressure. So I don't think lawyers will be displaced anytime soon.
Yes, I agree with you. I think we have more work than ever before. Before AI, now we have a lot more work, lot more patents to be filed because everybody can generate an idea, can work on it, and give it to us. Hey, we want to file a patent application for this. So tell us about, if a younger lawyer is listening to us right now and he wants to become a general counsel versus, let's say, a partner in a law firm, how can they choose their path? Becoming a partner in a law firm versus becoming a general counsel in an in-house. How can somebody choose their path?
I don't think I can respond to that in such a general manner. I can say what I think about it. If somebody feels excited about, researching a ton of opinions on a particular issue, wants to really be in all the details of a legal aspect of a matter, I think they're better off advising a number of clients as an outside counsel on particular issues. If you're more a person like me who like to see, the development of a matter from, as you mentioned, maybe the conception of an idea to actually bringing it to life, then I think you're better off probably in house, because you're not just getting pulled in and then the team will continue and then there's a new problem, you get pulled in again, but you're usually really accompanying the process. And that would be my advice to, I think, somebody who thinks about, do I want to have an in-house career or a law firm career?
Brilliant. And Jonas, what does success mean to you today?
I think the same thing like before, that I continue to grow. I continue to be helpful to both my business, but also my legal team. Uh, the roles have shifted a little bit, and again, I'm doing that role since a couple of months now. But it is part of my responsibility to to help others grow, and that is definitely success for me if I can see that somebody is successful or is overcoming a challenge. Um, so the coaching aspect, I think, of the role is important. And then clearly success, as I said before, I mean, we want to be the business partner of our executive management, of our business, of our board. So to the extent that they continue trusting in our advice, in our counsel, um, I think I'm pretty happy with that.
Brilliant. So the zest of progressing, like progress makes you happy, and then you being able to being helpful for your business, for your team, and always being there, always adding value to what you're doing is equal to success.
That's a very fair summary. Yes.
Okay. All right. Last two questions, Jonas, for you. How do you want to be remembered when you leave this world? What legacy you want to leave?
Wow. Well, I hope that ultimately I leave a trace, an imprint that some people, yes, do remember me. Uh, it will probably not always be the success we just talked about. It may also be the, sometimes doubts, sometimes maybe even challenges. But yeah, I think that that would be something nice to be remembered, to have an imprint.
Hmm. And what would you advise a 25-year-old Jonas?
Not to worry too much. Things are going to be good. Yeah, I think in retrospective, I worried about many things, how to organize my career, how to organize my life. And now I can see that a lot of things make sense, but only afterwards. So I really trust in destiny.
Hmm. So trust the destiny, not worry too much because I used to worry a lot. I mean, our parents used to worry a lot for us that what will we do? Uh, our teachers thought that we will never be able to even earn livelihood.
Yeah.
We were not among the best students, and like they were like, "What will you do in your life?" And like, we're doing okay. So yeah, things fall in place. Yes, you're right. So
I think you need to
John,
invest. I think you need to invest into yourself, into your opportunities.
hmm.
So
Invest. What do you mean invest? What do you invest? What?
I think you need to invest yourself. You need to make the effort. I also think you need to give luck a chance. You need to basically seize some opportunities, and that's what I also meant with not to worry too much. If I think you want to consider your options and your choices, but once you have a feeling about it, go for it, because I think that is where there may be a chance out there, and if you're not taking it, you won't see what destiny has in mind for you. So that's what I meant with yeah, uh, make an investment.
Beautiful, beautiful. Last final words, Jonas. If a younger lawyer is listening to this conversation right now, who is slightly scared on what's going to happen to their career, perhaps they're worrying too much, perhaps they're thinking AI going to take their job. What advice would you give to a younger lawyer who's graduating this year?
I think the one biggest advice is probably to find the right mentors, to find the right people to look up to. Um, and not only in the good sense. I mean, obviously, you want to imitate or trying to understand how people have success, but also see and recognize things which you don't like, which, I want to be different. And those two combined, I think everybody will find their way. And yeah, have I think that's the other thing. Have an environment, and that doesn't only need to be in your professional life, but in your private life, which supports you. People who stand behind you. And if you don't have that, I think again, make an investment. Go out, see other people, find yourself this environment. That I think is the biggest one piece of advice. If you're worrying, that will help you.
Brilliant. Jonas, really, really thank you for your time today. I think your answers are very valuable because since you worked in Europe, worked in the US, changed your country, worked in multiple countries, admitted in law at multiple places in Germany, England, US, coming with a massive compassion and emotion quotient, which is currently missing, especially after AI. Everything is AI-ish. Which way, and adding a human element to your conversation, reporting to the board, bringing value in such a risky industry, automotive, because something goes wrong, people can lose their lives. Uh, Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. This is a Indeed, very powerful episode where somebody could of your stature could come and share their knowledge and wisdom with so many different aspects of culture, law, and whatnot. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you very much.
Amit, thank you, first of all, giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts for what they are worth. And it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you, Jonas. Thank you very much.
Thank you.